So in this video, we're going through the work solutions to the questions on completing the square. So section A asks us to complete the square for the following, giving the coordinates of their respective maximum or minimum point. So first of all here we have x squared minus 4x plus 16. So we'll start off by writing in brackets x minus half of 4, which is 2, all squared. We then want to expand this out, so we would then have x squared minus 4x plus 4, okay? And now we're looking, how do we get from 4 to 16? So we'll do 16 take away 4, which is 12. So our final answer here is going to be x minus 2 squared plus 12. And then our minimum point, because a in this case is 1, not negative at all, our minimum point here will be 2, 12. Okay, so we flip the sign inside the brackets, the one outside the brackets stay the same. Okay, so moving on to the next one, we've then got x squared plus 10x minus 30. So same idea here, we're going to write in brackets x half of 10, which is 5, all squared. Expand this out, so then have x squared plus 10x plus 25. Okay, so we then want to look, how do we get from minus 30, sorry, how do we get from 25 to minus 30? So we'll do minus 30 minus 25, which gives us minus 55. So we need to subtract 55 from 25 to get to negative 30. So our final answer here is going to be x plus 5 squared minus 55. We're also going to have a minimum point here again because our a value is positive. So the minimum point is going to be equal to, we flip the value inside the bracket, so minus 5, and outside the bracket stays the same, so minus 55. So our minimum point has the coordinates minus 5, minus 55. Moving on to question 3. We then have one where a is greater than 1. So we need to factorise out a little bit here. So we're going to start off by factoring out the 8 for our x squared and x terms. So we're going to have x squared plus 4x minus 12. Okay. We're now going to look to basically complete the square for what's inside our brackets. So we've got 8 bracket x plus 2 squared. We then want to expand out our x plus 2, which would then give us x squared plus 4x plus 4. We now want to basically expand out that single bracket as well. So we're then going to have 8x squared plus 32x plus 32. So we're now going to be looking, how do we get from 32 to negative 12? So we're going to do minus 12 take away 32, which is going to leave us with minus 44. So that means that our answer is going to be 8 bracket x plus 2 squared minus 44. Same again here, so our a is greater than 1, so we're going to have a minimum point. And the coordinates of this one here are going to be minus 2 minus 44. Okay, so now moving on to section B. So section B asked us to essentially complete the square and solve. Okay, so same sort of process. Well, let's complete the square first of all, as it's already a quadratic in the quadratic form because it's equal to 0. So we're going to half our b value, which will give us 6. So x plus 6 squared. Okay, we'll then expand this out. So we've then got x squared plus 12x plus 36. Okay, we're now going to be looking, how do we get from 36 back down to 32? So we'll do 32 minus 36, which gives us minus 4. So we need to subtract 4 from 36 to get back to 32. So our answer for our completed square here will be x plus 6 squared minus 4. We'll set that equal to 0, as we had before. We now want to solve it. So we're going to want to bring this minus 4 across by adding 4 to both sides. So we'll then have x plus 6 squared is equal to 4. We're now going to square root both sides, taking account of how the square root of 4 could be positive or negative. So it'll be plus or minus 2. And we're then going to want to subtract this 6 over as well. Okay, so then we've got x is equal to minus 6 plus or minus 2. Okay, perfect. So now let's have a little look at question 2 then. Okay, so this one is a little bit harder because first of all, it's not in a quadratic form and a is greater than 1. So let's get it into the quadratic form first of all, because we want to equal it to 0. So we're going to want to minus our 2 across. Okay? So we'll now have 6x squared minus 24x minus 8 equals 0. And then the same way we dealt with the ones where a is greater than 1 before, we're going to want to factor out our 6 for the x squared and x terms. Okay? And we now want to complete the square for basically the part that's in the brackets. Okay? So we're now going to have 6 bracket x minus 2 squared. Expand this out, we'll then have 6 bracket x squared minus 4x plus 4. We'll then expand out that single bracket too. So then have 6x squared minus 24x plus 24. Okay? And now what we're basically looking to do is working out how can we get from 24 back down to minus 8. So we're going to do minus 8 take away 24, which gives us minus 32. So our final completed square is going to be 6 bracket x minus 2 squared minus 32 is all equal to 0. And now we want to solve it. So same again, we're going to want to move our minus 32 across to the other side. So we'll now have 6 bracket x minus 2 squared is equal to 32. We'll then divide by 6. So to give us 32 over 6, or in a simpler form, we could have 16 over 3. We then want to square root both sides, giving us plus or minus the square root of 16 over 3. And then last part, we're just going to want to add our 2 over. So we're going to have x is equal to 2 plus or minus the square root of 16 over 3. Okay? And last but not least, we'll move on to question 3. So here we've got 4x squared minus 8x minus 8 is equal to 3. So like we did just in the last part, we want to get it into the quadratic form first of all. So we're going to minus our 3 across. So we'll now have 4x squared minus 8x minus 11 is all equal to 0. Okay? And now we then want to factor out, because our a is greater than 1, we're going to want to factorise out our 4 just for the x squared and x terms. So we'll now have 4 bracket x squared minus 2x minus 11 is equal to 0. And we're then going to complete the square for the part that's in the brackets. So we've now got 4 bracket x minus 1 squared. We're going to want to expand that out, giving us 4 bracket x minus 2x plus 1. And then expand out the single bracket, giving us, x squared there. 4x squared minus 8x plus 4. Okay? And now we want to work out how can we get from 4 back down to minus 11. So we'll do minus 11 take away 4, which gives us minus 15. Okay? So that means we need to subtract 15 from our completed square. So it's going to be 4 bracket x minus 1 squared minus 15 is all equal to 0, as we had before. And now we want to solve it. Okay, so we're going to look to add our 15 across first of all. So we've now got 4 bracket x minus 1 squared is equal to 15. And then we want to divide by 4. So we'll have x minus 1 squared is equal to 15 over 4. Okay, and now we want to deal with the squaring. So we're going to want to square root both sides, leaving us with x minus 1 is equal to the positive or negative version of the root 15 over 4. Okay, and last part, we just want to add our 1 across. So we'll then have that x is equal to 1 plus or minus the root of 15 over 4.